So I'm exiting the gym. It's Monday night. Can't keep up with the days, like October 8th or something. I did 40 minutes of cardio. I was in the sauna for about 15 minutes. It was pretty nice. I had 550 calories reported of lost or minus from whatever is shown on the machines. But I wanted to record this video because I had a thought about my progress in the field that I'm in and what could be holding me back, and I kind of had some insight on it. So if I can rewind all the way back to when I was taking my calculus and physics classes, I was like a superstar. But then when I transferred, somehow I got a C, like a B- average. And it was kind of odd because I was a little bit awkward with the professors when I transferred. So I hate to say it, but in some ways I was kind of too smart for the field, for the major, in a way. Not to say that where I was difficult, but it caused me not to get an internship and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that I was too smart for it, but I want to put it I want to start with that angle. Why? Because I want to explain to you that I believe that the success in any field that you want to go to that has a an org chart to it, or whatever it is, there's a balance between behavior and ego and smarts. Those two things, basically. So my hypothesis, or what I'm theorizing, is that basically I wasn't behaving properly this entire time. And because my ego was so high, or was so large, that I did not basically obey, and it took me a while for me to shape up, to behave. Even to this day, why would I be passing the PE, for example, and then get disrespected at work or whatever from my boss? There's many circumstances in that case, and it's because I'm not behaving properly, and I'm not, you know what I mean? So there's circumstances where they want me to respond a certain way, and then they kind of see me as being rude. And this was also the case with my dad. I was also kind of rude with him, and it had something to do with my ego. So being so high, right? And then there was the smarts too. So when you separate those two, or when you realize that, like, let's say if your ego's too high for your smarts, let's say you have too high of an ego for your smarts, well, what could happen is you won't behave, but you won't be able to perform as well. You know what I mean? But see, I was actually performing okay. So, but that's the thing, because if you're in an environment where performance is not really is not as reinforced as behavior, or if you have to balance those two out, you may not actually be successful for wherever you're at. So that's kind of what's been happening with me this whole time, because the field that I'm in, I mean, if I was in physics, maybe behavior wouldn't matter as much, but I think it has more to do with the org chart. So like if there's an org chart involved. But there's also another thing too, is here's what hear me out on this. I'm not saying I'm hella smart, I'm extremely smart, or I'm not saying I misbehave. But what I am saying is that that I believe that in this sense, I've had a fetish, or I've been attracted to economics, because the more I learn about economics, the more I understand how to behave. Isn't that kind of interesting? I just came up to this realization while I was running. I was like, that's probably why I'm so into economics. I mean, not that I want to go into the field. And people have told me, like, why aren't you into finance, man? Well, it's because I want to understand my own behavior. I want to understand what it means to behave properly in the real world, And I mean, there is a certain point at which you have to give up your ego so that you can live in this society. So I just thought that was interesting, because I think the more I learn about economics, particularly macroeconomics, the more I'm able to kind of just give up my ego and realize, like, just kind of like, realize what I need to be doing, no matter what field I'm in, I guess you could say. And so I think that's the reason why, that could explain everything, why I'm so into real estate, why I'm into all that stuff, because when you think of those two aspects, the smarts and the ego, it's been extremely difficult for me to train that ego part, you know, that whole behavioral aspect, because I mean, I guess there's like a certain balance that's really hard to achieve in my particular case, but and it's very strange. It's very, very strange. But the answer certainly isn't ADHD medication or whatever. I think it's just somebody, like, that's why I love my grandpa. I mean, he was like the most economic. So, you know, that's just an interesting thing I thought about. The other thing too that I realized is that it led me to another idea too, is the fact that maybe the reason why I hate Facebook, right? Because there's this idea of where everybody's trying to brand themselves. So I just thought to myself, because like right now I'm like, you know, learning about nutrition and all that stuff, understanding more about the roles of the different vitamins and the importance of low carb diets and stuff like that. And I start to realize that we're basically becoming a society where we're all trying to brand ourselves. Everybody's trying to brand themselves. And there's even people that are branding themselves about branding, like Ty Lopez. They're trying to say everything's about branding. Well, it's interesting, like, you know, for example, like Facebook, right? Facebook is all about branding, right? You're trying to brand yourself, and you're just like, you know, you got an identity. And same thing with Instagram. It's like you want to brand yourself, and you're trying to take pictures, show off, show who you are, and saying that you're all that. Well, I guess my response to that in an ego sense is that what I decided to do, pretty much, for the most part, and you might be seeing my face right now, because really, I don't see my face. I don't see my face. When I see my face right now, I see information. I don't see my face. I don't see a person. I just like I see a ghost, you know. And I think we're becoming that way because we're all identity freaks, you know. We're all fucking identity freaks. So we're trying to brand ourselves like crazy. And this is why I got off Facebook, because I'm anti-Facebook, you know, anti-face, even though my face is right here. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, we are in a society where everybody's trying to brand themselves, and it's becoming so valueless that basically it would be great if you can come up with an anti-Facebook, in a sense, where it's anti-branding. And what I thought about was, I was like, you know what? It would be kind of interesting if you can create a website where the policy was that you do not disclose your personal identity or anything related to you personally. And I know it sounds a little bit like dissociative identity disorder, but just imagine that, right? Imagine a world where everybody is just conveying information, and they're just basically posting things. They might post pictures of themselves or things, but it's geared towards information, because I mean, we're in the information age, right? So like, if there might be a tab for nutrition, blah blah blah, and it's like almost like its own website. It'd be kind of interesting if you had something like that. Now I know there is forums for things like physics forums, or you have, like, I don't know, just different things. There's an engineering tips forum. There's LinkedIn and all that, and those can be pretty depersonalized. But what if there was a website where it's specifically for depersonalization, where you don't have an identity, where you don't give a personalization? Everything is based off of information 100%, and the policy is that you're not supposed to give away personal information at all. It'd be kind of interesting. I mean, because the thing about this is that, like, I mean, obviously not a lot of people would really, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people would use it, because it'd be hard to be entertained by it. A lot of people are entertained by branding. But people are also entertained and drawn to information that's useful to them. Especially if it really grabs onto their interests. Like, for example, if you see somebody cooking something, that's information. That can be information. But I guess it can be sort of entertaining. But more so, it's information that grabs onto you because you want to replicate it, or you want to do something, you know. So I want to call it like what did I think about? It wasn't anti-Facebook. It was like Thinkbook. I think it was Thinkbook. You know, Thinkbook versus Facebook, right? Imagine that. Like, or like I don't know. Thinkbook. I don't know what you want to call it, but it would be like Thinkbook, where you just kind of go to one thing and then you see, I mean, it's like information. So, you know, almost like a Google in a sense, because you're looking up information, but it's more for things that are interesting, that you find out that are interesting. Like if you go to the nutrition, someone tells you about, did you know that vitamin B1 does blah blah blah, you know, it allows you to sleep better or something, and you see some vitamin E makes you blah blah blah, and it's like you're just so drawn to it because it's all information that is useful to you, you know. It's like, and you could it's in a similar way, it would be completely depersonalized. Nobody would know who you are or anything like that. It would be an anti-branding website, and I don't know who would go to it, but I just thought it was interesting because now you're not wasting time on wasteless or useless entertainment or whatever. You're incorporating information that's useful to you, you know. That'd be kind of interesting. Anyways, just thought I would say that. I'm glad I'm done with my workout. Take care.